Hi everyone, it's Lisa and welcome to Make It Monday. Today is week 19 in my series on dynamic duos, where I'm teaching you two projects using the same products. Today it's a get well theme. These cute little guys are supposed to represent germs, or little sicky faces, and I love it. The idea of using this stamp set this way was not my idea. It's all over Pinterest and I couldn't tell you where it originated from, but I decided to put my own spin on this card. I'm going to show you how I created it. I'm changing up the color concept just a little bit for you because I ran out of that exact same designer series paper, but this is still from the same package called Watercolor Wonder. This is 2 inches by 5.5. I'm going to use my fringe scissors and I'm going to start on the end and I'm just going to snip maybe a little less than halfway. Now with the fringe scissors, you want to make sure that you're cutting down in the center and not using the tips, because the tips of the scissors will actually stress and rip the paper because they're so sharp. I'm going to flip it over to finish this other side. And I'm going to do the same thing now on this side. So that leaves us this little fringe border. I laid mine vertically on the card and I used some snail adhesive. Now I'm going to give you a little warning about this. You're going to want to go slow because some of the little fringes are going to get caught. So you want to make sure that you don't rip them as you put adhesive on. So I'm going to lay this down the center. And here's what I love about the little fringe. It gives it so much texture. Next, I'm going to do some stamping. The stamp set is simple stems. See this image here? If I turn this upside down, you're going to see that image right here. I've mounted it on my clear block, grabbing some scratch of white cardstock. I'm going to use my crisp cantaloupe ink, and I'm going to stamp one. And then I'm going to punch them out. I'm going to stamp a total of 3 different colors. 1 in Daffodil Delight, 1 in Calypso Coral. So here are my 3. This is the 1 3/8 inch circle punch. And I'm going to punch out each one of these. Now they need their faces, so we're going to give them some eyes. You can find the little wiggly eyes at any craft store. Actually, Walmart even has them cheaper. Blue dots, and of course my paper piercing tool, which I absolutely love for these little small projects. And I'm placing the eye right on top of the glue dot. And then I'll lift them off and position them on what's going to be his little mopped head. You're going to notice I'm keeping them fairly close together since the presentation of his head is small. You'll do that on all 3. So here's my 3 little guys. And now what we're going to do is put dimensionals on the back. Now I'm going to turn their heads in different directions just so that we have a little interest in the card. And then last but not least on my original, you'll see that I did the words. And I'm just going to show you really quick how I did that. Using the same 3 color markers that I did ink, I'm going to bring in a piece of white cardstock and my words, Get Well Soon. This is from the stamp set, Delightful Dozen. You're actually going to use your marker directly on the stamp. All of our markers are labeled. One end is the brush, one end is the pen. So with the brush side, you're just going to color over the area you want in each individual color. Once in Cantaloupe, I did the word well and daffodil, and then the word soon in Calypso. And this is what I ended up with after I punched it out using the same size circle punch. I added dimensionals to this as well. Now you're going to notice on this card that I offset everything to the left. This one, I actually set it down the center. So I'm going to be real creative with this one. So that's our cute Get Well card, but wait till you see the dynamic duo. Check this out. Isn't this cute? This is a little Kleenex holder. Let me show you how I created this. You're going to begin with a piece of cardstock that is cut 7 inches by 4.5 inches. I'm going to use my trimmer for this. I'm going to use the light colored blade for scoring, and the first score line is going to be at 1 inch, and then 3 1/4, and then 4 1/4, and then the last one is at 6 1/2. Be sure to use your bone folder because you want these creases nice and crisp. The next thing I did is I cut a piece of coordinating designer series paper, and that's going to be cut 2 inches by 4 1/4, and that gets laid here. I'm using the smallest oval from the Oval Collection framelits, and I'm going to place it here. Now, the manufacturer's instructions for the framelits indicate that you should only cut through one layer of cardstock at a time, but since the designer paper is very thin, I noticed that there was no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and use my magnetic platform and put this through the Big Shot. This is the hole that it's created, and now we're going to seal this. You're going to want to put sticky strip here. If you've created your box perfectly, you're going to be able to lay it flat and just close it up and then press. Now you can go ahead and fold it in two different directions to make sure that it's sealed well, and there you go. Now the Kleenex is going to fit beautifully inside. Just give it a small scrunch and slide it right inside there. Just for presentation purposes, I have the pretty side up. On my original, you can see I added the same little guy with his eyes to the Kleenex holder. So there you have a cute little gift for someone who's not been feeling well. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next week for Make It Monday.